Good morning, Fort Worth. It is the 28th day of April. You've got Andrew and Ian Shelley. Good morning, Ian.
Good morning, sir. How are you?
Doing great. Thank you for being here. Ladies and gentlemen, thanks for listening while we were gone. We had some pre-recorded episodes for you last week for the morning show while we were out messing around in far west Texas. We hit up Big Bend, Terlingua, and then out to Presidio and Marfa and about 5 state parks on the way back. So we've got a lot of stuff on social media for you to check out. Investigating caves and going across the border into Boquillas, Mexico, and all sorts of fun stuff. So we took video. We wanted to make sure you were along for the ride. You can find that on Instagram, TikTok, and Facebook as Fort Worth Roots. If this is your first time joining us, the Fort Worth Roots Morning Show is part of a broader umbrella of things that we do here at Fort Worth Roots. But the morning show happens Monday through Thursday, releases to you at 9 o'clock, and it's meant to be a quick little snapshot with some news and some weather and a little bit of fun stuff to get you ready for your day, on your way to work, on your way dropping off the kiddos, whatever you got going on. Our first segment is weather. Today is going to be 82 for a high, 69 for a low, 24% chance of rain. Tuesday, 80 and 67 for a low, 23% chance of rain. Wednesday, 71 for a high, 60 for a low, thunderstorms at 67%. Thursday, 84 and 63 for a low, 8% chance of rain. Friday is 75 for a high, 59 for a low. Looks like scattered thunderstorms, 48%. And then moving into the weekend, 79 for a high, 61 for a low, isolated thunderstorms, 33%. Sunday, 78, 65 for a low. AM thunderstorms, 49%. We'll keep you up to date with that throughout the week. Again, this is Monday through Thursday. We do the morning show. So, of course, all that's going to change. Last week, we did some pre-recordings for you, like I mentioned, and we went ahead and did the weather and told you guys that it was pre-recorded because we wanted to see what the difference would be, and there was a huge difference. There were massive storms that rolled through the area, and we had none of that in the forecast from the previous week. So it does change. In fact, Ian, did you hear out in Midland, Texas, they recorded the strongest microburst ever at 111 miles per hour.
That's crazy. I hadn't heard that. And I know last week there were 10 confirmed touchdown tornadoes.
It was wild. Yeah, we were freaking out because we were down there in Big Bend. We did not have cell phone signal. Every once in a while, it would catch a little bit, and we got alerts that there was a huge storm moving through DFW. Yeah. So we ran up to the park office to get their Wi-Fi, and whenever we got there, literally, there was a storm surge going from middle of Oklahoma all the way down almost to Alpine. I mean, it was huge.
Yeah.
And so we called the house, and, there was a tornado that touched down about 5 miles from our house. We were worried. Can't do anything about it if I was here or not, so I guess it doesn't matter. Yeah. It was wild. All right, our next segment of the day is National Day of, and these get pretty stupid. Today, the 28th of April, is National Superhero Day, Biological Clock Day, Clean Comedy Day. Here's to all you comics out there doing clean comedy bits.
Dad jokes.
Dad jokes, primarily, I think. Yep. Global Pay It Forward Day. Let's click on that one real quick. We always try to click on one. Pay all the good deeds you've ever received forward on Global Pay It Forward Day, celebrated annually on April 28th. If you've believed in paying back kindness all your life, allow us to introduce you to a more refined and helpful initiative, Paying Kindness Forward. This day is celebrated in over 80 countries, encouraging us to collectively perform random acts of kindness in a bid to pay forward some of the kindness we may have been shown in the past. So buy that person behind you his coffee or hold a door for somebody. I don't know. Just
wave.
You should be nice every day, right?
Yeah.
This day in history, April 28th, 1967, Muhammad Ali refuses to be drafted into the Army during the Vietnam War, citing race issues in the U.S. and his religious beliefs. The protest will lead to his arrest and suspension of his boxing license for several years, putting Ali in the spotlight as a controversial figure and civil rights icon instead of in the boxing ring. They'd had to update the rules of engagement if they put Muhammad over there, right?
Yeah, right.
Just crazy dude running around with boxing gloves.
Hands on first.
1994, this day in history, double agent convicted. Ames receives life sentence after spying for Soviets. CIA counterintelligence officer and spy for the USSR and Russia, Aldrich Ames, pleads guilty to espionage and is sentenced to life in prison. His years of treason compromised hundreds of intelligence operations and led to the execution of sources. Dang, dude.
Wow.
pretty rough.
Yeah.
2001, this day in history, U.S. millionaire entrepreneur is first tourist in space. A former aerospace engineer, investment banker Dennis Tito pays $20 million to hitch a ride on the Russian Soyuz TM-32 mission. The amateur astronaut will spend more than a week orbiting Earth as a visitor on the International Space Station. Okie dokie.
Good for him.
Yeah, and then, Katy Perry. There's
Now an
there's a
astronaut.
line somewhere between this millionaire and Katy Perry.
Yeah.
Did you watch any of that?
No, I watched the launch
Yeah.
of it, and good for them.
Do you think that they really even did what they said they were going to do after watching the door kind of pop open
I don't
right
know.
before Jeff Bezos opened the door?
Yeah, I don't know.
All right, no comment from Ian.
Yeah. Yeah.
This story is from Fort Worth Magazine, FWTX.com. Story is by staff. I hate it when they do that. Just tell us who wrote the story. Texas A&M Fort Worth set to lead new National Aviation Initiative hub. Fort Worth has long played a pivotal role in shaping the future of flight. Now Texas A&M Fort Worth is poised to continue the legacy. As part of a sweeping new federal initiative, the Texas A&M University System has announced the creation of the Center for Advanced Aviation Technologies, or CAAT. CAT.
Good for them.
A hub
need
for
more.
cutting. Go ahead.
And I was just going to say we need more of that stuff in North Texas.
We do, and this is going to be heavily centered around what do you call those? Drones.
Yeah.
So, yeah, I mean, that's the future, man. I saw something on TikTok or one of the other platforms yesterday talking about how China is now forcing their, it either said 5-year-olds or 5th graders. I can't remember which one.
5th graders learning AI.
Yeah, you saw that?
That's part of their baseline curriculum.
Big
Yeah.
initiative, yeah, and it makes total sense. I mean, that's where we're at. It's
Yeah.
going to control everything, barring any kind of like mega solar flare that just completely wipes technology out. And then you probably wish you had some farmers, 1 or 2 anyway.
Yeah, right.
Anyway, you guys can read on a little more about that. FWTX.com, that's the Fort Worth Magazine website. This one is from the FortWorthReport.org. Thought this was kind of interesting. Fort Worth-based startup takes to the air with new flight operation at Alliance Airport. A lot of aviation stuff today. But Fort Worth it's an aviation community. I mean,
Yeah.
we got Lockheed Martin right down the street. And
A lot of aerospace defense
Work. Lots of contracts.
working here and moving in, too.
And then we got, what's that new Bell, the V220 or something like that?
Yeah.
New helicopter
Yeah.
supposed to take over the
It's a few $1
Black
billion
Hawk.
contract.
Yeah, that's going to be out at Alliance as
that.
well. A Fort Worth-based startup that has been testing its autonomous towed cargo glider systems in West Texas is operating a flight operation headquarters at Perot Field, Fort Worth Alliance Airport. The location in North Fort Worth will be the center of Aero Lanes test flight operations, FAA certification efforts, and future product development. The company plans to launch its first AeroCart cargo glider system for commercial service later this year.
That's going to be awesome.
Aero Lane will refine and test its patented AeroCart technology, a series of autonomous towed cargo glider systems that boost the capacity of existing planes while requiring only marginally more fuel. The technology is inspired by the scaled deployment of cargo gliders during World War II, according to the company. And it is it's a computer-generated image of a large cargo plane pulling a very sophisticated-looking glider. Basically, what they're forming is a train in the air.
Yeah. Yeah. I love it. I mean, we'll get into it later, but that's where the focus of my business is too. Is
Let's get into that real quick, because everybody, they've heard your voice and they've heard me call you Ian, but they don't know what you do yet. Can we talk a little bit? Do you want to talk about the organization first?
Why don't I give a 20-second spiel and walk up to that?
Let's do it.
So I joined the Air Force. I did a delayed enlistment.
Thank you for your service.
In 2000. I was a junior in high school, but I knew that I wanted to get out. I wanted to travel. Being from Toledo, not a bad thing. It's just a good place to be from. So I set my date for September 17th, 2001, unbeknownst to anybody.
Oh, my God.
9/11 was going to happen. So 6 days after that.
Change things.
Woke up that morning and watched the news and said, I'm leaving in 6 days for basic. So 6 days after that, on an airplane, got to Lackland Air Force Base and went through basic training.
Is that Virginia? Where's Lackland?
San Antonio.
Oh, okay. Way off.
Yeah, close.
But that's a major basic training hub for the Air Force,
That's
right
where
down in
all
San
the Air
Antonio.
Force goes through. Yeah, unless you're going through the academy, and then you go out.
Okay.
And in Colorado.
Okay.
But then I went to tech school in Wichita Falls at Shepherd Air Force Base. Okay. Got stationed at Herbert Field with the 15th AMU 1st SOW Air Force Special Operations Command AFSOC, working on the C-130 gunships and the Talon IIs.
Love the C-130.
Yeah, great airplane.
You can do a lot with that thing.
A whole lot. So active duty till 05. Got out and traveled around a little bit. And I got a job back with a defense contractor there in the area doing the same job I had when I was in, which was great. And then spent some time over the next 8 or so years traveling around. I moved back to Iraq to train the Iraqis how to fix and fly their aircraft. And then I moved from Iraq to Italy, which is not a half bad recovery.
Yeah.
Working with the Italians to train them how to build the JSF. Lockheed built a mirrored plant that we've got here in Fort Worth over there in Italy, just smaller scale.
Is that for F-16s or
F-35?
Really?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So we started out training the Italians to build their own aircraft, and then we added a wing line. They added a wing line, and they're supporting all aircraft production. So most of the wings at the time were built. The wing boxes were built over in Italy and then shipped to the States for final assembly and.
That's amazing. I wouldn't have thought that
else.
we'd given that much control of our 35s to another country.
There's proprietary things in there, but obviously we needed the production support. And they've been a partner nation and ally of ours for a long time. So
cheaper to make them where you're going to be using them than making them here and flying them over.
Strategically, it made a lot of sense because we didn't have to make everything here and ship them all over the world. Then we've got 2 spots here in Fort Worth and one in Europe that was able to cover the globe. And then they expanded operations in Israel and Japan, and there's some work in Australia and stuff too.
Excellent. Is that how you got involved with air power?
No. So fast forward through my Lockheed stint, I moved to a program management role with L3 for 2 or 3 years, and then in May of last year, I started with Higginbotham, where I'm at now,
which is a Fort Worth-based
company.
Provider.
Yeah, we're a retail broker, so we don't provide any insurance. We provide the insurance to our clients from the carriers,
right?
But we don't write any of our own insurance. But through that, being a veteran and HIG being tied into air power for many years, I got invited to the Veterans Day Rangers game with the air power folks and got to know them. And fast forward about a year of working and spending time with them, and they asked me to join as the advising board member.
That's awesome.
In the beginning of this year.
And what is the general scope of air power? What's the goal with that organization?
We want to give back. Pay those that have given so much for this country that we can't even begin to put a price tag on, but we can begin to help. So Fort Worth Air Power, or the Fort Worth Air Power Council was founded in 1958 here in Texas, which I believe it's one of the oldest, if not the oldest in Texas, and it's the second behind the USO in the country, which is it's pretty noble.
Yeah.
They didn't have a formal formal fundraising vehicle, being a 501(c)(3), I believe it is, and you need to be a 501(c)(3). So in 1999, they started the Air Power Foundation, and since then we've partnered with big companies, Lockheed, GE, American Airlines, Bell, a lot of them. Over 25, our 25th birthday is coming up, so over 25 years we've raised, I think it was about $23 or $24 million.
It's incredible.
In funds, grants, scholarships, mobility aids, homes, cars. One of our biggest partners, Caliber Collision.
Mm-hmm.
We partnered with them. We just gave away 3 cars through Caliber, I think 2 or 3 months ago.
To veterans?
To disabled veterans, wounded veterans that are just struggling because of whatever life brings at them. That's what Air Power is here to help.
That's excellent.
That's what we do.
Love that.
Yeah. So it's great too because it's a Fort Worth-based, homegrown, Fort Worth roots company.
Yeah. That's what we're all about.
Yeah, organization.
Yeah. Let's get back into the news, and then I want to hear more about Higginbotham, and then some links that people can go to, or some websites or social media pages. that last story we were reading for you guys is, of course, on the Fort Worth Report. The story was by Bob Francis. We got one more for you from Fort Worth Report. Renewed push for nuclear energy expansion sparks excitement and anxiety in North Texas. Sounds like we're getting some more nuclear power, maybe.
Bring it on.
Texas hasn't seen a new source of nuclear energy since 1990, when the Comanche Peak nuclear power plant outside Glen Rose, 60 miles from Fort Worth, came online. But recent development involving state lawmakers and industry officials point to the prospect of new sites dedicated to providing nuclear energy. Advancements wouldn't focus on major power plants such as Comanche Peak, but rather on small modular reactors that can produce up to 300 milliwatts per unit. I don't understand what that means, but it sounds like a lot.
Yeah.
About a third of a traditional power plant's generating capacity. That proposal came from Governor Greg Abbott during a 2024 conference where industry leaders discussed the expansion of nuclear energy in Texas. The reactors would serve to back up the state's main electrical grid, Abbott said, citing the 2021 winter storm that left millions of people without power or heat for days and hundreds of deaths tied to the blackout. Yeah, it sounds like we probably have the same opinion of nuclear energy after your comment there. It's the only way forward. If you want to strengthen that grid, we've got to go nuclear, and people are just going to have to calm down.
Technology has come so far that it's not nearly as risky as it was.
It's not. And another interesting fact that I'll throw out there about nuclear energy, and I don't know that this is still true, but about a decade and a half ago, somebody told me, and he was a nuclear engineer that had something to do with one of the Texas nuclear plants. He told me that nationwide, all of our nuclear plants are operated at 10% capacity. They do this to make people feel better about nuclear. And he told me that
just use a little bit so not everybody gets scared.
But the thing is, it's just as safe at 100% as it is at 10. It just on paper, hey, we're only pushing this thing to 10%. You know, makes people feel better, I guess. But
it's the 99 cents and the 99-cent price tags and everything. It's not $100, it's $99.99.
Right.
So it's safe.
Well, and another thing, and I wonder if this is tied into it. Have you ever taken a trip through like Midland, Odessa?
Yeah.
There are fields and fields of these pump jacks out there. And you'll notice that about a third of them are pumping at any time, right?
Yeah.
Well, they're on timers, and one will shut off and another one will kick on. That one will shut off, another one will kick on. And the reason they do that is because there's a regulation on how much oil each one of those pump jacks can pull out of the ground in a given amount of time. They do this to manage the price per barrel.
Yeah.
It's an economic thing.
Yeah,
it has nothing to do with the capacity of the well or the pump or anything like that. It's just to control the price of a barrel. And I wonder if that 10% has something to do with, hey, if we go completely nuclear, then we can't burn coal, or we can't do this, or we can't do that.
There's some reciprocity there, I'm sure.
I'm sure. So anyway, let's go nuclear. I mean, everybody wants electric. And those windmills out there in West Texas, they can spin for the next 500 years before they would even recoup what it costs to build those things. Yeah. Solar panels, they're great, but they only work when the sun's up.
Right.
And there's problems there too with solar. But nuclear is our most sustainable energy source. It's the greenest thing we've got. Yeah. And it's so funny to hear people talk about green energy and exclude nuclear from the conversation. Yeah. It doesn't make sense. Yeah. But headlines and stuff, I guess.
There we go. Clicks.
Oh, it's reset. We had a good story from the Fort Worth Fire Department. Let's see if I can pull that up real quick. Here we go. Every year, an estimated 31,000 Americans die from blood loss after an injury, many before they ever reach an operating room. For the first time, Fort Worth ambulances are equipped to give blood transfusions to trauma patients before they reach the hospital. Oh. This collaborative initiative between the Fort Worth Fire Department, MedStar Mobile Healthcare, JPS Health Network, Office of the Medical Director, Fort Worth, and Carter Blood Care will deliver the most critical intervention blood where it's needed most, at the scene and en route to a hospital or ER. So anyway, it looks like, I didn't know this wasn't a thing, but it's a thing now. They're going to start giving blood transfusions from the EMS trucks on the way to the hospital, and it's going to be a huge life-saving measure. So
I didn't know that was a thing either. Good for them.
It's pretty cool.
Yeah.
And from the City of Fort Worth Facebook page, if you are looking for a rewarding way for your teen to spend their summer while gaining valuable leadership experience, The Fort Worth Parks is offering the Rec Leader in Training, or RLIT, program designed for teens ages 13 through 17 who want to build essential life skills while having a great time. You can click on the link on their City of Fort Worth Facebook page to get more information on that. But I saw that, and I'm like, we're going to talk about that real quick. Your good news story for the day, and this is really cool because when I was in high school, I knew one person with a peanut allergy, and now I think I know like 100 people with a peanut allergy.
Yeah.
And let's bring back the day where the flight attendant could bring you peanuts in a little bag, complimentary. Come on, that was a nice day. Adults with life-threatening peanut allergy can desensitize with daily doses, life-changing study shows. The first clinical trial to test whether adults with peanut allergies can be desensitized has shown great success, with 2/3 of participants able to consume the equivalent of 5 peanuts at the end of the study without reacting. Known as oral immunotherapy, the approach has been successful in infants and children worldwide, but this first-of-a-kind study, the Grown-Up Peanut Immunotherapy Trial, shows adults can benefit too. So that's really cool. Anyway, there's more testing involved here, but I'd heard this from a documentary that was talking about how wild it was that as we continue as a society, there seems to be more and more peanut allergy cases. And I remember whenever this first started to pop up on the radar, they were talking about maybe using the same kind of method to try to get people past their peanut allergy. You're giving them just little bits of the poison to get them used to it, I guess.
I'm allergic to everything in North Texas. I go every week to take a shot because without it, it's miserable.
Yeah, well, and I struggle with cedar allergies and tree pollens all the time.
It's kryptonite.
And you ever been down to Austin?
I've been driving through it. Yeah,
dude. So I took a job down there, and I was working in Dripping Springs, Austin area for about just shy of 2 years. And I lived on Allegra D, and it took me a while to figure out that was the thing. I tried everything, and nothing was stabilizing me.
How do you combat
I was a
that
mess.
with the drowsiness? You can't drink enough coffee to
you got to pick, dude, because I was having such a reaction to the pollen down there. I think specifically cedar. That I couldn't drive. Yeah, which is crazy. But I mean, eyes were swollen. And not to be too graphic, but I mean, I just had clear snot hanging down to my knees. It was crazy. Yeah. I had to have the CFO of the company drive me to a pharmacy and talk to the pharmacy. What do you call it? The pharmacist. Yeah. What do you call that guy?
I say rep,
yeah. But anyway, I was like, dude, help me. I've tried everything. Yeah. What do I do? And he gave me the Allegra D, and about 30 minutes later, I was functional. Yeah. I wasn't over it.
Better.
But, I could drive a car.
Yeah, I carry an EpiPen around with me.
Dude, okay.
Depending on the time of the year, there's one in the car, one at the office, one at the house, because you never know.
Well, if we're ever hanging out, just make sure I know where it's at, so I can. Where do I stab you? Is it Pulp Fiction? Do we go straight to the chest?
To the heart. I mean, if it's bad enough, go for it. Yeah.
EpiPens don't usually have. They don't have the big needle on it, do they?
No. Just stick right in your leg.
Damn. Well, it's great that we have the medical technique to save your life if you have something like that. But, damn it.
Knock on wood.
So let's first of all, Air Power. Where can people find information on Air Power?
airpowerfoundation.org.
Okay.
Everything's up on our website. We just did a major website revamp. Mm-hmm. We have a couple events coming up. Actually, one that's here. June 1st, it's going to kick off our walkathon.
When you say here, you mean here at Hoppin?
Here at, yep.
Okay,
yeah,
awesome.
So we're going to come take over Sunday afternoon from starting about 1 or 2 to maybe 5 or 6.
Awesome.
Have some local artists come play. I think y'all are going to come join us. Maybe a news station or 2 coming. Okay. But the whole point of it is to draw awareness to suicide prevention and the struggles that come with depression that often lead to the ultimate choice that some people make. So we're going to walk 23 miles. 22 is the standard that we all know. So we're going to walk 23 miles, that extra miles in solidarity with Air Power and the function of the awareness. We'll do 1 mile around the neighborhood here and then just come back here and hang out and get to know people and hear a few people's struggles. And I've got some of my friends' parents that are going to come join us that have made that hard choice in the past. Mm-hmm. So we're going to kick it off for a whole month initiative here. And then July 31st, we have what we call the Patriot Roundup, and the theme of this year's Patriot Roundup is all the Navajo wind talkers. So it's bringing awareness and educating on how pivotal they were in the war. So we're going to be at the Stockyard Coliseum and going down there to party and hang out and listen to some more music and learn more about what they did for the war and continue supporting our veteran community through Air Power's initiatives.
Are there still, excuse my ignorance, are there still wind talkers alive from World War II?
Yes, there are.
Really?
Yeah, I think we're trying to get a couple.
That'd be fascinating.
A few of them there.
Yeah.
Yeah, I'm not exactly sure. We're still working out the final details of guests and stuff, but that event is up on the website as well, so you can go or just Google Air Power Patriot Roundup, and it'll take you right to the link.
Excellent. And if we can share anything on social media, for sure, and let us know.
Yeah.
And let's talk about Higginbotham just a little bit.
Yeah. So coming up on a year there, going back to what we talked about a minute ago, 25 years in aerospace and defense. I was looking for a change, had young kids, wanted to get back. COVID kind of changed the way everybody operated, working from home. So I wanted to make a change, and I guess I don't do small changes. I want to make meaningful changes.
Right.
So once I learned how to figure out to translate what I know into insurance, then Higginbotham was the right choice. And why it's the right choice: one, they're local. I could have an office. I missed having work friends working from home. You can't go out and grab a beer with anybody.
Right.
So it's a Fort Worth-based company, 75 years old. Over those 75 years, have seen some incredible growth. Started out one office in Fort Worth, and we're now in 17 states, and 3,500 employees have managed to still be employee-owned.
But it all started right here in Fort Worth.
All started right here in Fort Worth.
And what services can our neighbors benefit from at Higginbotham?
We are synonymous with insurance. So
okay.
Employee health benefits, property and casualty, commercial business insurance, so general liability, professional liability, cyber. We have what we've called our day two services. So there's HR contracted services if it's a small company that doesn't have an HR department or has the need for HR but can't really afford to staff it up that way. We have contracted services that will support any back end of any business from a human resource. We have financial support as well, 401k and all kinds of other investment opportunities, life insurance.
So just anything insurance.
Anything.
What's the best way for people to find these services online?
Higginbotham.com.
Excellent. And
Higginbotham.
You did well.
I have to remember it. I have to visualize the words. Yeah.
It's so funny because there's a lot that can be said about what's going on in someone's head whenever their eye position, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
And
always whenever somebody's looking up, they're pulling information from the deep recesses of their mind.
Somebody told me, I think it was one of the classes that I took when I was in the military, if you go up and right, I can't remember if it's up and right or up and left. Up, one of the directions is up in one direction is true, and up in one direction is you're making it up.
Yeah. Something like that.
Yeah. I can't remember, but there's the body language that you can tell that, wow, they're really thinking
there's
about
whole
this.
courses on that.
Yeah.
I think it's absolutely fascinating, and it's true. It's true. You can tell when somebody's, being sincere or less than sincere with you just by body posture. And anyway, it's fascinating. Yep. So there's a ton of information online about our trip that we just took. I really hope you guys enjoy some of that, either on our social media, if you just like those quick little bits. But what we did is we took 3 podcast groups down to far west Texas. And so Fort Worth Roots did part 1, and we covered our trip at Big Bend and into Terlingua. And then on part 2, we're on the Jerry Jonestown Massacre podcast. So you'd have to switch to another platform to get part 2, but we did this because we wanted you to visit all of our friends' shows that participated in this trip with us. So you can go on to Jerry Jonestown Massacre podcast, look for the Far West part 2 episode that they did on there, and that covers Marfa Lights, and it's a very entertaining episode. We were sitting literally outside of the old Army airfield with the Roadcaster on a battery pack, and we watched the Marfa Lights come. We did a full breakdown on that. We had some call-ins from some locals, and we actually got a call from the NSA and a couple of other government agencies that were warning us to get out of there. So anyway, you guys got to check that out.
How many conspiracy theorist calls called in?
There was two conspiracy and then a couple of people that just wanted to tell their abduction stories. Anyway, it's a lot of fun.
Wow.
And that's part 2. It's on Jerry Jonestown Massacre podcast. After you check out part 1 here on the Fort Worth Roots podcast, and then part 3 is a recap and kind of talking about Marfa, our experience down there. Marfa has changed so much.
Yeah.
So that's part 3, and then they also talk a little bit about some of the state parks out in far west Texas. So check that out on the Fort Worth Famous podcast for part 3. A lot of fun, and I'm looking forward to doing this again, where we take a group of people. We do a bunch of, we're down there relaxing and having fun and checking out nature and enjoying each other's company, but we're also making content and recording podcast episodes and talking about something outside of Fort Worth,
But wasn't this a personal thing for you too?
Oh yeah, 100%. I squeezed in some extra activities there.
Sure.
Proposed to our co-host Megan down there in St. Helena Canyon. If y'all have ever been to Big Bend, it's one of the most beautiful attractions in the park, and she kind of figured out what was going on before I popped the question. But anyway, whatever. I did it.
Congratulations.
We got some really cool pictures. Thank you. But I'm going to talk to Ian offline after we get done here today. It sounds like Higginbotham and Air Power, it sounds like you guys have enough content for us to meet up pretty regularly and talk about things that are doing basically the Lord's work here in Fort Worth. Somebody's got to do the greater good, and the people that you're working with sound like they are making a huge difference here in Fort Worth. So
I'd love to talk more about it. There's a lot of good stuff.
Absolutely. All right. Anything else? We went kind of long.
No, we're good.
Okay. And we do record this every Monday through Thursday at a place called Hoppin'. You guys need to check it out. It is a self-serve tap room with 58 taps on the wall, ciders, THC seltzers, craft beers, and a cocktail bar. It's right next door to Blackland Distillery, and 3 doors down from Doc's Records. It's 1 block north of Target on West 7th Street, and it's a great place for events. So if you got some big event you want to do, they'd love to have you out here. I think the capacity is somewhere between 250 and 300, but yeah, if you got a thing and you need some AC and a covered environment, they got you taken care of. But it's also a really awesome place to just hang out after work, bring some friends, and chill. Big screen TVs and just great little vibe. Always something going on. Check them out.
Outdoor little patio. Play some cornhole.
Mm-hmm. Great patio. Good view of the Fort Worth skyline from the edge of the patio. There's a building going up now, but man, they've been working on that for over a year.
No, this place is awesome.
And there's always fun events going on out here. Check them out on Instagram at HoppinFWTX. All right, that's all we got for you today. If you have an event coming up and you want us to talk about it on the show, take an audio recording of yourself telling us about the event, and we will play it on the morning show. Monday through Thursday, releases at 9 a.m., and that is the entire purpose of this show, is to just connect the community. Thank you guys again so much for being here. Hit us up on our email, media@fortworthroots.com, and we will see you tomorrow. But that's not how I sign out. I've been gone for a week. I forgot. As you move through the universe on the back of a giant tortoise, we hope that you will choose love and gratitude every chance you get. Until tomorrow, folks. Good day.
And she gave it to me. So she got that soul.
I'm like,
I haven't blended.